It's a big thrill to have on our show today, obviously, the man regarded by most as the world's greatest soccer player. Please welcome Mr. George Best.
George Best was once called the best footballer alive by Pelé himself, but by the time he was 30, his career was already over. Not because of injury, not because of age. What happened to him is something football has never been able to fully explain.
Gibbons on his right, Best again. A glorious goal by Best. What a magnificent goal by Best. A masterpiece of a goal by Best.
I think Georgie Best was the greatest footballer to ever grace a football field for a period of time, because I think he played in a time when football was very different, on pitches against opposition that were much more robust, against defenders that operated at a very different level. We had to deal with the Ron Harrises of the world, the Norman Hunters of the world, the Dave Mackays of the world, and all these sort of people. I just think that George Best, for a period of time, probably from 67 through to 70, was without doubt the best player on the planet. I don't care what they say about Pelé and Eusebio.
He had everything. He had the skill, he was brave, he was good in the air. I mean, it sounds all cliches, you know, but he was good with both feet, he was brave, he scored goals, he never stopped running. Magnificent player.
George Best was born in Belfast on May 22, 1946. He made his debut at Old Trafford on September 14, 1963, at just 17 years old. He was skinny, nervous, with flung back hair, but from his very first touch, he seemed destined for the stars.
First game I played, I remember walking down the tunnel. I was a kid who had never played in front of like more than 200 people before. And all of a sudden, the people opposite you see you. So they start the chant because they know the team's coming on. And all of a sudden, it goes round the ground. And it gets bigger and bigger, getting louder and louder and louder. Freak out. And I couldn't hear anything. And I thought, I can't believe this. For me, it's like a dream come true. The first league goal was in '63. It was actually my second league game against Burnley at Old Trafford. I wasn't really expecting to play because I'd been in Belfast when I received a telegram asking me to come back. And I figured I was coming back maybe to get a game and if maybe the reserves at the most. But my father was pretty convinced I was going straight into the first team. And as usual, he was right. So I got in touch with the people at Old Trafford and I said, look, if I come and play, I want to be back in Belfast the same night, finish my Christmas with the family. And I thought, this kid is telling us what to do. So anyway, I came over, I played in the game and I scored my first league goal. And we beat them 5-1. And I was back in Belfast the same night. And the biggest thrill I've ever had was reading my name in the Belfast newspapers, saying that I'd scored at Old Trafford for Manchester United.
In 1965, at 18, he lifted his first league title with Manchester United. His style was a dent, loose hips, the ball glued to his foot, loafer under the rain. Soon, he became part of the legendary Holy Trinity alongside Bobby Charlton and Dennis Lau.
He was only a young boy. I think he came with another Irish lad. And I had just joined United. Of course, they were building just after the Munich disaster. And I saw him in the gym down at our training ground in Salford. Two young boys and absolutely tremendous skill. As I say, United building up after the crash. We had a bad start to the season and we nearly went down that season. But in '63, and I remember the game here, it was at Old Trafford. And I didn't play, I was in the stand with Sir Matt Busby. And it was absolutely magnificent. It really was the start of the sort of side that United had in that 60s, of being a great side with the likes of Bobby Charlton, Nobby Stiles, Pat Crellin, David Heard, and of course this young lad who had come from Northern Ireland.
On March 9, 1966, at just 19, Best exploded onto the world stage. He scored twice against Benfica in Lisbon, and the Portuguese press called him the Fifth Beatle. He returned to England wearing a hat and a mischievous grin, with headlines proclaiming football's newest pop star.
In '66, when we finished the game, I remember a fan chasing me with a knife, and I thought he wanted to kill me. And he was a Benfica fan. He wanted to lock in my hair, and it became like a real crazy situation. I was getting 10,000 letters a week, all women, and my friends in those days were, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones,
He was the first pop superstar of football. Many have tried to step into his shoes. George started an industry without knowing it. This entire thing, there were agents surround these people. They either are manicurists, chiropodists, soothsayers, go around them. The pop
Hairdresser.
team. Precisely. That was started by George Best. Before that time, there had not been a notion or an inkling of this at all.
Yeah.
Footballers were guys with short back and sides you could actually meet on the bus.
On May 29, 1968, at 22, he reached the peak of his career. In the 1968 European Cup final, he scored a magical extra-time goal that helped Manchester United to a 4-1 victory. It was the first English club to win the European Cup, 10 years after the Munich air disaster. That season, Best scored 32 goals in all competitions and won the Ballon d'Or. At just 22, he had conquered England, Europe, and claimed football's highest individual honor.
I remember him as a thin, spindly sort of a guy who had exceptional ability and just a bit too young to appear in the cup final, but I think most of us appreciated that he was. And the thing he had more than anybody else, he had exceptional ability. But it takes more than just ability to be a great player. And I wasn't sure, there's a question mark until people emerge and play in the first team. I've seen some great individual players with ability and never make it. His ability and his balance. And one didn't ever realise whether George was a right-footed player, left-footed player. And there's not many players in the world that you cannot identify. And he could drop his shoulder and go both ways. And we've all seen him. And again, he's one of the bravest players, which people wouldn't even recognise. And I think his nerve was another thing that, the bigger the game, that he just a calmer. And as a young kid, when he played in cup ties and things like this, he was under pressure. He was a great player.
He was a young boy, has got tremendous talent, has been a symbol for young people, if you like. And of course, he enjoys a bit of life, but he also enjoys his football. And I must say that there's no one probably is more keen on playing, more keen on training than George Best. And he is quite an amazing footballer, as well as, I think, a nice boy.
Fame wrapped itself around him. Every match brought another standing ovation. Muddy grass benefits both cigarette smoke and beer hanging in the air, the crackle of cameras each time he scored. George embraced the glory with a clenched fist, but life off the pitch demanded a different price. Years later, he admitted,
I started an image on purpose 6 or 7 years ago, and it just backfired on me. I used to do things for publicity, hoping that I'd get my name in the papers and people would take notice of me. And then I ended up and I didn't want to see my name in the papers, but it couldn't be helped.
After a brief self-imposed exile in Marbella in 1962, he returned to Old Trafford for a short while before finally leaving Manchester United in January 1974. He was only 27.
I just feel very aggrieved that George couldn't handle the situation he was in and play right through his career, because we as fellow players at the time missed him when he left. And I'm sure the millions of fans, not only in the UK but around the world, missed George Best on the big stages of the world.
Looking at it really from the outside, I would have to say really that some people whose intentions were very well-meaning with regard to George's own well-being, really he didn't listen to. He listened to the wrong type of people, I think.
George was a born natural footballer who came from Ireland, and I don't think he could live with the situation within himself, not with anybody else, but within the pressure built up in his own mind and his own body.
From then on, his talent traveled the world in fragments. South Africa, the United States, Scotland, and Ireland. He could still ignite a stadium, producing flashes of the superstar he had once been. But every hotel room, every airplane seat carried the same companions, the stale scent of tobacco and a half-empty bottle. His young body began to betray him until he finally retired in 1984, bringing an end to the turbulent career of George Best. If you like football stories like this, subscribe for more.